A human engineer, Captain Raylan Ward, is summoned before the feared Zyrex alien Queen Vaeloria. Everyone believes she hates humans, yet she has personally requested him. Raylan tries to lighten the tension with a quick joke to survive the pressure. "Your butt is really nice." The armored guards freeze, the council gasps, and the Queen turns bright red, trembling in shock. No one knows if she is offended, or if the unthinkable has just happened. Raylan is assigned to a diplomatic repair mission on the Zyrex flagship. Humans believe the Zyrex are cold, emotionless, and hostile. The Queen requests Raylan personally. This confuses everyone. The room is silent, filled with giant armored guards. Queen Vaeloria stares at Raylan with unreadable eyes. Tension is so thick that he blurts the accidental joke. Her deep blue skin shifts to a glowing red color. The guards look ready to attack, but she raises a hand to stop them. She asks a strange question. "Human, why did you say that?" Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Captain Raylan Ward, a human engineer with a calm face and tired eyes, never expected to stand inside the throne chamber of the Zyrex Empire. The Zyrex were known across the galaxy as proud, strict, and extremely sensitive about respect. Humans usually tried to avoid them. Any wrong word, any wrong step, could start a war. So when Raylan received a direct summon from the Zyrex Queen herself, everyone on his ship thought he was dead. The throne chamber stretched like a long dark tunnel. Giant armored guards lined both sides, silent, expressionless, and almost twice Raylan's height. Their armor plates reflected cold blue light. The air felt heavy, almost thick enough to choke him. At the end of the hall sat Queen Vaeloria, ruler of the Zyrex, feared on a dozen planets. Her skin was a smooth deep blue, and her eyes glowed like twin stars. She was elegant, tall, and carried herself with a quiet, powerful dignity. Raylan walked forward slowly. He could hear his own footsteps echoing in the hall. He had no idea why she wanted to see him. He was just an engineer. Not a diplomat, not a warrior, just a guy who fixed engines and tried not to get killed by aliens on his off days. When he reached the center of the room, he forced himself to bow. "Captain Raylan Ward, of the Human Alliance. Reporting as requested." The Queen didn't answer at first. She simply stared at him, longer than necessary, long enough to make the guards shift uncomfortably. Something was wrong, but Raylan couldn't tell what. He swallowed hard. His brain panicked. Say something, anything, break the tension. His mouth moved before his mind could stop it. "Ah, your butt is really nice." Silence. Deep, horrible, world-ending silence. Even the lights in the ceiling seemed to flicker. 7 Zyrex guards instantly stepped forward, hands on their weapons. One whispered, "He insulted the sacred form. Execute." Another said, "He spoke of the Queen's rear shape. That is forbidden." Raylan froze. "Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm going to die. Why do I have a mouth? Why do I exist?" But before anyone moved, Queen Vaeloria lifted a single hand. The guards instantly dropped to one knee in obedience. Then she turned, bright red. Not a small blush, not a faint tone. Her entire face, neck, and even the edges of her hair glowed with a soft, warm crimson light, like a living ember. Raylan blinked. The guards stared. The royal advisors exchanged confused looks. The Queen herself looked embarrassed. "Human," she said slowly, her voice softer than before. "Why did you say that?" Raylan felt all the blood drain from his body. I don't know. It was just a joke. Humans do that when we're nervous." The Queen blinked twice. Her glow brightened. "A joke." She repeated the word like it was something sacred. An advisor whispered urgently, "Your Majesty, humans use jokes to flirt. He might be signaling interest." Another whispered back, "Or maybe he is insulting her. Or maybe both. Human customs are strange." Raylan raised both hands in panic. No, I didn't mean anything like that. It was just an awkward thing I said because the room is scary and everyone is staring at me like I'm a bug under a microscope." The Queen stood. Her robes flowed around her like liquid light. She stepped toward him in slow, deliberate movements. "Captain Raylan Ward," she said, looking down at him with glowing eyes. "You speak boldly. No one in my empire would dare say such words to me." Raylan coughed. "Well, humans are very brave. Or very stupid. Usually both." The Queen's lips curved slightly, almost a smile. "Almost. Walk with me, human," she said. The guards gasped again. Even Raylan blinked in shock. Me, walk with the Queen, privately, why? Why does she want me alive at all? But he followed. The private observatory. They left the throne chamber and stepped into a quiet, crystal-walled observatory high above the ship. Stars floated all around them like glittering dust. Raylan had never been in this part of the Zyrex flagship. No human had. It felt wrong, like he was stepping into holy ground. The Queen stood near a window, the red flush still glowing faintly under her skin. "Human Raylan," she said, her back turned to him. "Tell me truthfully, do your people often speak so openly of another's body? To a ruler, to a figure of authority?" Raylan rubbed the back of his neck. Well, sometimes humans try to be funny when they nervous. And sometimes we compliment people accidentally." "Accidentally?" She looked confused. "You complimented my form by accident?" Raylan winced. "Yes, very accidentally, extremely accidentally, the most accidental thing ever." She stared at him again, quiet, thoughtful, almost shy. No one had ever described the Zyrex Queen as shy. After a moment she said, "Among my people, complimenting a queen's rear shape is considered a very intimate signal. It is something only a chosen partner would say." Raylan nearly fainted. "What? No, it wasn't like that. I didn't even know that. Humans don't have that rule. Please don't choose me as anything." The Queen exhaled slowly. The red glow dimmed, then returned even brighter. "I am aware," she said softly. "And yet, I find myself unsettled. You speak to me in a way no one ever has. You show no fear. Your words are strange, but honest." Raylan opened his mouth, but before he could respond, the alarms screamed. Red lights flashed across the chamber. A Zyrex soldier's voice crackled through the speakers. "Your Majesty. Enemy vessels detected. They're boarding." Raylan turned wide-eyed toward the Queen. She didn't panic. Her expression hardened into something sharp and dangerous. "Stay here, human," she ordered. "This is not your fight." Raylan shook his head. "If the ship goes down, I go down too. I'm not hiding." The Queen narrowed her eyes. Not with anger, but something closer to respect. "Very well," she said. "Do not die." "Can't promise that," Raylan muttered. The corridors exploded with motion. Zyrex soldiers ran in formation, their armor glowing bright blue. Raylan followed behind them, staying low as the ship shook with impact. An explosion burst through a hallway ahead of them. Metal shards flew everywhere. Raylan saw a group of Zyrex soldiers fall, pinned by debris. Without thinking, he ran forward. "Human, stop!" a guard shouted. But Raylan ignored him. He grabbed a heavy beam and tried to lift it. It burned his palm, but he gritted his teeth and pulled harder. "Get out," he yelled. "Move." The soldiers crawled free. One stared at him with shock. "You saved us." Raylan shrugged. "I'm a mechanic. Lifting broken stuff is basically my job." They pushed forward together, and Raylan found himself fighting beside the Zyrex. He held a fallen guard's shield, using it to block incoming plasma fire. He ducked, rolled, and kicked a boarding invader, surprising even himself. When one invader almost struck the Queen from behind, Raylan threw the shield like a disc, knocking the enemy aside. The Queen turned and saw him, blood on his face, sweat dripping down his neck, still standing between danger and her. Her red blush returned with full strength. "Human, why do you defend me?" she asked quietly, even in the middle of battle. Raylan wiped his forehead. "Because you're alive, I'm alive, and if we want to stay alive, we fight together." The Queen stared at him for a long moment. "You are unlike anyone I have met." After the battle, the ship finally stabilized. The invaders retreated. Zyrex medics moved through the halls, treating the wounded. The Queen stood tall, looking over her recovering soldiers. Then she turned to Raylan. "You fought with honor," she said softly. "I misjudged humans." Raylan tried to smile. "We're not so bad, at least, some of us." She stepped closer to him, her voice suddenly gentle. "There is something I must tell you. About your words earlier." Raylan groaned. "Oh please, let's forget I said anything about your quiet, human." He shut up immediately. Her eyes glowed bright red. "When you complimented me," she said slowly, "you awakened something unexpected within me, something I had not felt in many cycles." Raylan blinked. "You mean attraction?" She didn't answer. She simply looked away, glowing even brighter. It was the closest thing to a yes she could give without saying it. But before she could continue, the throne chamber doors burst open. A shaken advisor ran toward them. "Your Majesty, there has been a betrayal inside the royal court." Someone is plotting against you, and the human. Raylan froze. The Queen's face darkened. The advisor whispered urgently, they want the human executed, and your throne taken. The throne chamber felt heavier than before. Guards whispered. Advisors looked nervous. And Queen Vaeloria stood frozen, her skin shifting between deep blue and glowing red, showing her rising anger. Raylan slowly raised his hands. Okay, I'm guessing this isn't just about my but comment anymore. The advisor swallowed hard. Your Majesty, many nobles believe the human has influenced you. You defended him in battle. You allowed him into the private observatory. Enough, the Queen snapped. The advisor fell silent instantly. Raylan glanced at her. Is this really that big of a deal? I just said something dumb. The Queen didn't look at him. Human, you do not understand. Many in my empire believe you attempted to court me. Raylan groaned. I didn't. Why does everything I do turn into some kind of mating ritual with your people? A guard whispered to another, humans are chaotic beings. Raylan pointed at him. You have no idea. Vaeloria sighed and gestured for everyone to leave. Clear the hall. Now. Within seconds, guards and advisors rushed out, leaving the Queen and Raylan alone in the silent, massive chamber. Only then did she speak. Raylan, what you said earlier, it was not something a queen can ignore. Raylan rubbed his forehead. Yes, I get it. I accidentally proposed to you. Or whatever your people think I did. She shook her head gently. No, it is more complex. Then she motioned for him to follow her into her private chamber once more. The Queen's confession. They entered a small room filled with gentle white light. Unlike the grand throne hall, this space felt peaceful, almost soft. Seats were arranged in a circle. A gentle hum filled the air, soothing the mind. Vaeloria stood in the center, hands clasped behind her back. I must tell you something, she said. Something no outsider has ever heard. Raylan braced himself. This better not be about your sacred butt again. She turned bright red again. Human, let me speak. Okay, he mumbled. The Queen took a slow breath. In Zyrex culture, the Queen is expected to act perfect. Strong. Untouchable. No one compliments us. No one teases us. No one makes us feel human. Raylan blinked. Wait, you mean nobody talks to you like a normal person? She nodded slowly. Never. Not in my entire life. Raylan felt a pang of guilt. She wasn't just a queen, she was lonely. Your awkward words, she said softly, were the first honest, unfiltered comment anyone ever gave me. Raylan's mouth opened, then closed again. Wow. Sorry. You deserved better than that. But the Queen shook her head. It was not polite. It was not royal. And yet, it made me feel something I cannot describe. Something warm. Something free. She looked away. And that is why the nobles fear you. Because you make me feel. Raylan stared. They want me gone because you blushed. No, she said quietly. Because I have not blushed in many cycles. Her voice trembled slightly, and that alone shocked Raylan. The mighty Zyrex Queen, shaking. Raylan, I am not angry at you. I am afraid for you. Raylan stepped forward. Afraid? Yes. My people believe that if a queen shows emotional color, the one who caused it must be tested. Or punished. Raylan's face went pale. So, when I said your butt looked nice, I started a political crisis. The Queen closed her eyes. Yes. Great. The trials of worth within hours, Raylan was summoned before a council of Zyrex nobles. Their tall, insect-like helmets made them look even more unfriendly than usual. One noble slammed a staff to the ground. Human Raylan Ward, you have shown undue influence on our queen. Another hissed, you have caused emotional instability. A third added, this could threaten the balance of our empire. Raylan muttered, I really should have stayed home today. The Queen stood at his side, but she wasn't allowed to speak during council judgment. The eldest noble spoke. By tradition, if a queen is emotionally moved by an outsider, the outsider moose. T face the trials of worth. If he passes, he is cleared. If he fails, he is exiled, or eliminated. Raylan whispered to Vaeloria, eliminated. Like, dead eliminated. She gave a tiny nod. He groaned. Why does your culture not have normal punishments? Like a fine, a warning, maybe writing an apology letter. The nobles ignored him. Begin Trial 1, the eldest noble ordered. Trial 1, Courage. Raylan was sent into a damaged part of the ship where fire still burned. Zyrex workers were trapped under fallen beams. The nobles watched through screens. Raylan rushed in without thinking. Someone grab a medic. he shouted. No medics allowed, a noble said coldly. This is his trial. Raylan gritted his teeth. Fine, I'll do it alone. He fought through smoke, lifted beams, and pulled the trapped workers out one by one. His skin burned, and cloth tore, but he didn't stop. When he returned, covered in soot, Vaeloria stood, her skin glowing with quiet pride. He passes, the eldest noble said reluctantly. Trial 2, Honesty. Raylan was brought before a Zyrex truth-sensing creature, a tall, floating jelly-like being with glowing tendrils. It asked one question. Do you wish to influence the Queen for power? Raylan answered instantly. No, I barely understand her culture. I'm just trying not to die. The creature pulsed blue. He speaks truth. Vaeloria exhaled in relief. Raylan added, and also, I didn't mean to flirt with her. That was, the creature pulsed again. He speaks truth. The nobles were silent. Trial 3, Loyalty. For the final trial, Raylan was ordered to stand in a corridor alone. The nobles fired a sudden, surprise simulation attack at the Queen, trying to test Raylan's reaction. Raylan reacted instantly. He grabbed the Queen by her arm and pulled her behind him, shielding her with his body as a blast hit him in the back. He coughed in pain but stayed standing. The nobles murmured among themselves. He protected her. He acted without hesitation. He shows loyalty beyond his duty. Vaeloria rushed to him. Raylan, are you hurt? He groaned. Yes, but in my defense, your nobles are insane. For the first time in years, Vaeloria laughed softly. The nobles bowed their heads. The human passes all trials. He is worthy of standing in the Queen's presence. Raylan collapsed onto the floor. Thank you, I'll just lie here forever now. The coup and the betrayal, but their relief didn't last long. That night, a group of armed nobles stormed the royal wing. Raylan woke up to the sound of alarms. Protect the Queen, someone shouted. Raylan grabbed a fallen guard's weapon and ran into the hall. He found Vaeloria surrounded by traitors. One noble pointed at Raylan. There, the human has weakened the Queen's heart. Finish him and take control. Raylan charged forward. Leave her alone. Plasma fire shot past him. He dove over a railing, rolled, and kicked a traitor in the chest. Another aimed at the Queen. Without thinking, Raylan threw himself in front of her again. A blast struck him directly. He fell to his knees, coughing. Vaeloria screamed, something no Zyrex queen had ever done in public. She unleashed a brilliant wave of power, knocking the traitors back with force enough to break the metal floor. Guards rushed in and secured the room. Vaeloria dropped to her knees beside Raylan. Human, do not close your eyes. You must stay awake. Do you hear me? Raylan smiled weakly. Hey, I've had worse. One time I tried cooking. Raylan, I'm okay, Your Majesty, just tired. He passed out. The days after, Raylan woke in a soft medical bed. His chest hurt, but he was alive. And sitting beside him, every single day, was Queen Vaeloria. She never left his side. Whenever he spoke, she blushed. Whenever he joked, she glowed a shade brighter. The staff whispered about it constantly. After a week, he could finally stand. The Queen approached him, her hands trembling slightly. Raylan, I must ask you something important. Something I have never asked anyone. He frowned. What is it? She stepped closer. Her skin glowed red again. When you said those words to me, did you mean them? Raylan blinked. You mean, about your... Yes, she whispered. Raylan smirked. Well, yeah, I wasn't lying. Your butt is nice. The Queen gasped, glowing bright red from head to toe. Raylan added softly, but that's not the reason I stayed. Or fought for you, or risked my life. I did that because I think you're a good person. A lonely person, and someone who deserves honesty. She looked down shyly. Raylan, then perhaps, this is the beginning of something more. Raylan stepped closer. Maybe it is. The guards stood at the door, groaning internally. Stars save us, one whispered. The Queen is in love.